Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'll be doing my first impressions on a Nautilus V1. So, first off, this thing carries momentum a lot better than the V2 that I remember, of course. So, rollovers feel way more sticky and the chaplains feel a lot more stable. And I've heard that is because of the material at the ends of the handles. So if you can see down the channel right here, you can see that there is more material than it should be on the V2. And of course there isn't any jimping, so naturally it's going to feel more handle biased. That's just logic, but that just makes it flow a lot better as well. I'm not sure if I remember right, but this thing also feels heavier. I don't know if that's just me getting too used to flipping the Frank P, but this thing feels heavier than I remember the V2 feeling like. I think the blade is basically the same, and the same thin classic Nautilus blade. But there are some bad things that I've heard about the V1. Of course, the tune. I had some issues with the tune. It just wouldn't get rid of the tap, and I wouldn't get rid of the play. So I just tried out replacing everything. So I replaced the bushings, tuned those bushings, and replaced the washers. I can feel a little wiggle right here. I dropped it a little while ago, but not a lot. Yeah, the play is barely there. If I can... Yeah, not a lot of play. Pretty free swing, I would say. I also noticed that this thing doesn't have that same sound as the V2 does. I'm not sure what plays in the role there, but it might be the aluminum actually. Since this one is, the V1 was 6061 aluminum, I think, and the V2 was 7075. That doesn't really play that much of a role to me, since I never really beat my battle songs, since I never bring them outside. But yeah, I just thought I would give my first impressions. I'm not sure if I've already said it, but this thing also feels more square or thinner in a way than the V2. There must be something about the scales. I think the scales on the V1 is a little thinner and a little more flat, I think. I'm not even sure. But generally speaking, I'm liking this thing better than the V2, to be completely honest. Although I've heard the V1 has more problems with handle gap, as you can already see. There's... yeah. I bought this one secondhand on a local selling platform. Just found it and I got it for really cheap, so I just couldn't really say no. So I would get it, compare it to what I remember the V2 felt like, so... But yeah, I apologize for the inactivity. I just haven't really had anything to make content out of lately, so... Finally got something, and I've got something else pretty cool on the way. Might take some time since it's coming from the US. But yeah, it's definitely a cool battle song. A hint, it's titanium. That's basically all I can say. Anything else will give it away. And of course it's a trainer. Titanium and trainer, that's all I can say. But yeah, that was my first impressions on the Nautilus V1. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I guess I'll see you on the next one. See ya.